What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the 2024 Fiat 500e. This one is the Inspired by Beauty trim level. So it is finished off in the rose gold over a cream interior. MSRP is $34,000. Let's get right into this insanely compact electric car. Powering the 2024 Fiat 500e, you're going to find a 42 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack. Has a 400 volt front electric drive motor system with a single speed transmission. Curb weight is around 2,900 pounds. This has 117 horsepower with 162 pound-feet of torque. Max cruising range is around 162 miles, and it also features regenerative two-wheel disc brakes. The overall length is 142.9 inches with a wheelbase at 91.4. Width is 64.1 and height is 66.3 inches. Moving on to the styling with the Fiat 500e, of course the Inspired by Beauty one with the rose gold is an interesting look to this car. Got a nice set of LED headlights. You can see those daytime running lights all around it, and even the lights on the inside kind of look like eyelashes from the side. Got the nice LED headlight itself, more running lights and turn signal down below. You're also going to see all your forward-facing parking sensors, body color grille, and it also allows tons of cooling to the radiator. And then we have the 500 logo right in the center with some chrome trim. It is, quite frankly, a cute little car. Very interesting looking, looks fun. You can also see just how sporty it kind of looks. You got the clamshell design for the hood that kind of wraps around a little bit, and I do like the Italian flag in those corner lights. Two sharp lines in the hood, and then a nice smile when you look at it head on. Around the side profile, you're going to get a nice set of 17-inch wheels with a two-tone design and multi-spoke look. You can see the little disc brakes up in front, and then one body line surrounding this front wheel arch. There's also one sharp body line cutting through the entire side profile, and then a really sculpted design for the lower portion of these doors. You got integrated flush mount door handles, and then body-colored mirror caps with a little bit of chrome trim surrounding those windows. Side profile, you can tell just how compact this car is. It has a fun look to it, looking like a 500. You're also going to notice around the rear window, it even says 500e and La Prima, which is all part of this specific trim. Up above, you're going to see just a smooth body color throughout, and then an integrated spoiler and back. For the charge port, you can just pop this open. We have two different plugs in here depending on how you'd like to charge it, and there's even an LED light on the left side to indicate the charge level. So pretty easy overall to operate and charge this car. You got a nice set of LED taillights finished off in the red. Nice design as well. And then you can even see it says made in Torino throughout the taillights. You're going to notice that throughout, given this is an Italian car. In back, you got the single windshield wiper. Fiat name is written out. I do like the bulge in this rear section for the liftgate. Got 500e with a nice Tiffany blue color throughout it. And then you can see all of your parking sensors throughout the rear bumper. You got one sharp body line, some plastic trim, and then lights down below. And then an interesting thing for the rear brakes, you're going to notice they are actually drum brakes. And from the inside, you can see how there's not too much going on back here with the rear braking and suspension, and you're able to even take a look at the whole battery pack in the rear. Finishing it up, the design definitely looks like a Fiat 500, has a fun design to it, especially in the rose gold. Taking a look at the key fob, we get lock, unlock, trunk release, and panic, and it'll say 500 on the backside. You are able to lock the car with that button, and then there's an electronic pad you can press in the door handle to open it up. You got the cream interior in here, and then on the door panel, primarily finished off in black. You have some plastic material throughout, and then the nice cream color for all the padding on the armrest. All of your controls up above, an electronic release, and then you can see your grab handle with a little Fiat in there saying made in Torino. You also have more storage all down below, manual release, and then all manual controls for the seats. I like the cream color along with the black contrast, and the stitching is super cool. It says Fiat all throughout it. So nice little fun design for this car. You even got the 500 logo, more of the white stitching, and then spinning around to a nice two-tone, two-spoke steering wheel with the cream color, black, and then 500 right in the center. Now sitting in the 500e, keep my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. Everything will turn on. You can hear some chimes to it. On the left side, you're going to see some controls for the screen, Bluetooth and audio, cruise control on the right side, and then you can take a look at this gauge cluster. Pretty cool single LCD display. You have your speed right in the center, drive mode, battery percentage, and range. If I go ahead and scroll up and down through here, you can see our power indicator, You can also go back and forth to that menu. Scrolling to the left, we can see display, safety assistance. You're able to take a look at all of that. So pretty cool overall. In this bottom screen, you're able to see a few different things that are going to pop up. Navigation will come up as well, audio control, more information about the vehicle, and then driver's assistance. So definitely a pretty cool setup overall for this screen. Very simple and nice to look at. If we take a look behind the steering wheel, you're going to see the stock for all the windshield wipers, and then on the left side we have headlights and turn signal. Down below all that, you can see parking sensors, traction control, we have your fog lights, and then the interior dimming. One of your air vents, and then this cool kind of fabric rubber material throughout the center of the dash. Different trim levels. If you get the red inspired one, this will be all red. Then there's the inspired by music one, which will be a little bit different as well. Taking a look at the infotainment screen, very similar to other Stellantis products. We can go into here and see a few different favorites. You have shortcuts up above for temperature and the seats. Home icon, you can see some things about your battery. We have more information for audio, climate, more battery information over here. Then of course you can add a screen. We have media controls that will pop up. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, comfort with all of your controls for climate, fan speed, navigation. You have phone integration. And then going under vehicle, which is a little Fiat, which is a cool touch. You have a few controls, turning the screen on and off. Under electric vehicle, you are able to take a pretty good look at the battery information and all the EV systems. And then you have settings as well. Drive select is going to be down below, so if I put my foot on the brake, tapping it into reverse, you are going to get a nice little backup camera with good HD graphics. Parking sensors pop up on that screen. Going back into park. There are physical climate controls all throughout the center, which is a really cool touch. Fan speed on this right side, it'll also come up on the screen. And we have temperature, your different zones and everything. So pretty cool to have it on the screen and physical. We have climate vents right in the center, central locking, and then a little bit of storage with a wireless phone charging pad. And I would assume that is the Torino City Skyline. You also have a USB port down below. Then there's a lot of room in the center, and your single cup holder is right here. It pops downwards, and you have access to that. Below all that, we have your drive modes. So you can toggle this up and down. So if I go ahead and do that, gotta hold it for a second. The Sherpa mode will turn your climate controls off. This is for max range. Range mode is again for also pretty good range, but still giving you some options. And then the normal drive mode is of course pretty normal. You're also gonna see an electronic park and brake, your volume control, more USB ports and storage down below, more of the screen color on your armrest. And then this will slide forwards and back. Glove box on the right side, really large bucket. And then one last look at the interior. It's a fun little car, as you would expect. Nothing too crazy fancy, but it is a quirky, fun little car. As you can tell, we have the white color on the headliner, nice sun visors, all of your dome lights as well, and a thin mirror. And then when we go ahead and turn it off, you get some funny sounds playing from the speakers. The Fiat 500 is also a 4-seater. You can grab this handle behind the driver's seat, get the seat out of the way, and it reveals the 2 seats in back that all say Fiat on them. You're going to see a little bit of storage and another cup holder. The headrests are tucked away, and then back here we just have some speakers and a small armrest. So sitting into the back seat now with the Fiat 500, I've gone ahead and popped that headrest up. Good touch for better driver visibility. Back here at 5'11", I'm definitely on the cramped side. Not really the best headroom if I want to sit up straight. The seat's actually pretty comfortable. It's nice and padded. It is definitely very small, very short on my legs. If I go ahead and pull this seat back, I don't think that's gonna quite work. So, nonetheless, this is not a back seat for grown-ups. I guess if you're realistically gonna sit here, maybe sit sideways if you're an adult. So yeah, this is a cramped back seat, not a family car whatsoever. In a pinch, I guess you could figure it out with 2 people back here, especially if they're very tiny. But nonetheless, this is very, very small back here. It's a little compact. Moving on to the cargo space, there's gonna be a button right back here, and then we can manually lift open the lift gate. You got about 9.5 cubic feet of cargo space with the rear seats in the up position. And the floor, you can even open this up. You got the full charging kit in here, as well as an inflator kit. So nice to see a little bit of storage underneath that. There is a tiny privacy cover. And then if we go ahead and remove this, you can just pop it forward, get it out of the way. You are gonna be able to pop down these seats. So pressing that button, they're gonna fold nice and flat. Definitely bumps up the cargo space in this car. Honestly, you could always remove these seats pretty easily. But with them down, you're gonna see how they fold at a small angle, not too crazy. And then from here, we can easily close this. And then going through with the seats forward, you're gonna see that angle that these are sitting at. For two people, honestly, you can still fit quite a lot back here. But of course, being a very compact car, this is what you're dealing with. But nonetheless, pretty useful car for two people and a couple bags. All right, setting off in normal mode now. Full speed ahead, up to 50. Not too bad. Obviously, this doesn't weigh all too much, and it's got enough torque to where, I mean, you can still get up to speed pretty well. So, sitting in the Fiat 500e, this is a pretty comfortable seat overall. There's actually really good padding to it. You have really good visibility. As you can tell, we're in like just a bubble of glass, so really large windows, super easy to see around. The rear of the car is literally right there. I could actually touch it. That's kind of crazy. Now, as far as the drive modes go, we're in normal mode, which kind of feels what you'd expect. If we go ahead and go into range mode, taking my foot off the throttle, it does the one pedal braking. So you can see that is letting up in blue, giving it throttle, of course power. Take my foot off the throttle, it goes to regen and instantly doing that and slowing you down. So this is kind of a good way to get a little bit extra range. Now, if you go all the way down into Sherpa mode, it will turn off air conditioning. And now, full speed ahead, this is flooring it, and it's gonna max out at about 50. So that's full throttle. However, if I click the little button, it will tell me that I'm exceeding it and all that. So at least if you're in this mode and you just have to floor it, at least it will let you get the full power by hitting the button behind the throttle pedal. But nonetheless, this kind of maxes out at 50. This is more for city driving, maximizing your range. You can still turn climate on, but of course then it tells you it will limit your range. So Sherpa mode, I don't know if you would ever really do that unless you are just in dire need of some extra juice. So back into normal. I like the gauges and screens. It all looks pretty cool. Kind of gives you the information you're gonna need. Very similar to other like Chrysler Jeeps, things like that. So it's a cool little car to be in. Got the lane keeping, the distance pacing, all the cruise control settings that work pretty well in this car. As far as normal driving, it is decently quiet in here. You just hear a little bit of the wind noise and maybe a little tire noise. I wouldn't say it's the most refined vehicle out there. Obviously, for its compact size and everything, it's not any luxury car. But, I mean, it feels smooth enough, quiet enough to honestly be like a decent little daily if you're just around the city. You know, this isn't necessarily going to be the most highway focused car. You're not going to be just doing highway trips with it, especially with the limited range. I mean, we're at 82% charge and I have 107 miles on the range. Let's slow down for these. Actually, that was pretty smooth. And then giving it some throttle. You do feel a little bit of torque steer if the road has some bumps to it. So given it's all front wheel drive, everything's up front, you're gonna notice that a little bit. But I don't know, driving it around, it's kind of fun, it's kind of zippy. Like I said, this is a city car. This is a perfect thing to just zip around town. It's insanely small, so it's easy to park. And you know, if you're just gonna have a backpack with you or a briefcase or something small with you, obviously it's pretty easy, a single person or dual person type of car. But not a bad driving experience, I would say. It's not like cheap or anything weird feeling. It's kind of normal to drive overall, just in a very compact package. So fun little city car, I would say. So my honest thoughts now in the 500e. Not exactly a car that I am typically used to driving. I don't think I've ever been in a Fiat in general, and certainly never the 500. So, interesting little car. It takes up no space in my driveway, so it is absolutely tiny. It is kind of a hilarious car to look at, honestly. This is definitely going to be a very niche buyer, especially this specific spec in rose gold. Now, the way they kind of do their trim levels, they're all the same car, the same pricing. Basically, it's just different designs. See, that wasn't bad. This is actually a solid little car. But the Inspired by Beauty, that's this one. It's going to be the cream with the rose gold. There's the red one, which will come in either red, white, or black. And all those have red trim all throughout it, just to give it a little bit more of a sporty vibe. I would say that would be the one, if I had to buy one, would be what I would go with. There's one inspired by music, which is black, and it has a little bit different textures throughout it. So kind of interesting the way they've done it. It's not really a trim level. They're all as they come. There's no options on these cars. They come the way you see it. So it's an interesting car. Again, very niche market. This specific car, I could see maybe an older person driving it who lives in the city, who's just zipping, you know, 1 or 2 days a week, charged at their house. The good news with a small battery, the way it is, and given that it doesn't have that much range, if you plug it in with a normal 3-prong outlet at your house with the charger that it comes with, at least overnight, you're pretty much going to get a full charge. So it's not that bad to charge at home with the basic level 1 charging. Of course, if you own a car like this, you'll have the level 2, which really not gonna have an issue. So as long as you're not going but 30 to 40 miles away from your house on a given day, you could probably daily drive this pretty fine. You know, I live more in the rural area, so that really wouldn't work well with me, since sometimes I might drive 100 miles in a day. But a city dweller, to where you need a compact car, you don't want to waste your time with gas, and you have access to a 3-prong outlet by wherever you're going to park this, not a bad way to go. And 34 grand, it's not the cheapest, but it's also not the most expensive thing out there. The good thing is that I like about it, it is nice to drive. Like right now we're going 50. It's smooth, the suspension is good. It is so open in here, while the back seats are tiny, not really useful for any humans. This is roomy. I mean, at 5'11", I have like 8 inches of headroom. I could be a lot bigger in this car and a lot taller and honestly fit here. So 2 people could totally deal with this car as their only vehicle, as long as you just don't have a far drive from your day-to-day. Use of materials is decent. I like the steering wheel, the seats look good. This lower dash does feel a little cheap, just kind of cheap plastic on it. The silver trim, maybe if that was rose gold, that actually kind of would tie into this theme a little better. But I like this material on it. The screens all look good in it. Door panels are comfortable. So it's a cool, fun little car. Obviously not my taste, not a lot of people's taste, I'm sure. But you see them around. And now with the 500 being the electric car that it is, I don't know, it's kind of a cool design for just the person who's not going all too far. So range is definitely going to be a downfall. We're taking this to the airport in a couple days. I have to make sure this is a full charge, because that's 40 miles from my house. So I need to be able to drive this 40 miles, park at the airport for 4 days, and have enough juice to then get home. I don't know how much the battery's going to deplete sitting there for 4 days, but then I need another 40 to get home. So hopefully we come home with at least 20 or 30 miles of range, and then I'll plug it in that night, and it should get it back up to almost a full charge. So you kind of gotta have to plan it out if you're going to use this from the day-to-day, especially if it was your only car. That'd be probably pretty challenging. But even for me just doing an airport run, you know, I have to kind of plan it out. Anyways, that is now it for the 2024 Fiat 500e, the Inspired by Beauty one. Interesting trim level name for sure. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content, and I'll see you all in the next video.